The view from the observation deck of the Xerix dreadnought was breathtaking, the endless expanse of stars punctuated by the vibrant hues of distant nebulae. Commander Ralvok of the Azern Dominion stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his violet skin glowing faintly under the holographic light of tactical projections. A smirk played across his features as he regarded the small, unassuming blue and green planet on the central display. Earth, he murmured, his voice dripping with disdain. The so-called cradle of humanity. How quaint. Behind him, First Strategist Clovren stepped forward, her crystalline armor catching the light as she spoke. They call it defenseless. No orbital fleets. No planetary shields. Not even a token interstellar presence. It's almost insulting to us. Ralvok turned to face her, his smirk widening. Insulting indeed. For centuries we've heard whispers of this backwater species, humans. They've barely spread beyond their solar system, and yet they've managed to repel every hostile force that dared to approach them. Pirates, mercenaries, even rogue warlords? Clovren inclined her head. And now the Dominion will succeed where all others failed. Humanity will fall and Earth will be ours. Ralvok raised a hand to silence her. Not yet. We must first understand the enigma. Why does no one ever return from their skirmishes with Earth? Why do even the boldest raiders speak of it in hushed tones? There is something we're missing. And that's why we'll begin with reconnaissance. He gestured to the towering figure at the edge of the room, Inquisitor Drex, the Dominion's most feared interrogator. His chitinous frame loomed over the other officers, his eyes a pair of dark orbs that seemed to drink in the light. Drex, Ralvok said, you'll lead the initial infiltration. Study them. Learn their secrets. Discover why humanity has defied every attempt to conquer them. Drex's voice was a low, resonant rumble. It will be done, Commander. They will reveal their truth to me. The silent infiltration. Drex's shuttle slipped through the black void, cloaked in layers of Dominion stealth technology. As he approached Earth, he marveled at the planet's lack of defenses. There were no orbital sentries, no weaponized satellites, no massive starports bristling with fighters. It was as if humanity had left the door wide open, inviting invasion. Yet, as he descended into the atmosphere, a subtle unease crept over him. The planet's surface was vibrant and teeming with life, its sprawling cities pulsating with activity. But there was no sense of urgency, no sign of preparation for war. Drex landed undetected in a remote forest, his ship concealed beneath a canopy of towering trees. From there, he began his reconnaissance, moving silently through the shadows as he observed humanity up close. The peculiar humans. At first glance, humans appeared unremarkable. Their physical forms were weak compared to many other species, their technology primitive by Dominion standards. Yet there was a strange energy about them, a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Drex watched as they moved through their cities, laughing, arguing, and creating with an almost reckless abandon. He infiltrated their networks, sifting through mountains of data. News broadcasts, historical archives, entertainment media. The more he learned, the more perplexed he became. These creatures were chaotic, undisciplined, and fiercely independent. They fought among themselves constantly, waging wars that seemed senseless to an outsider. Yet, in the midst of their conflicts, there was a thread of unity that Drex couldn't ignore. He began to notice patterns. Humans spoke of freedom with an almost religious fervor. They revered their history, celebrating acts of defiance and resilience. Even their myths and stories were filled with underdogs overcoming impossible odds. And then there were their warnings. Whispers of Earth's fury. As Drex delved deeper into humanity's history, he found countless records of warnings sent to would-be invaders. Some were veiled, others explicit, but all carried the same chilling message. Earth is not defenseless. We are just patient. One recording in particular caught his attention. It was a transmission sent to a pirate fleet that had threatened Earth decades earlier. A human representative, an older male with graying hair and a calm demeanor, had delivered the message. We've been watching you, the man had said, his voice steady. We know your fleet, your numbers, your tactics. You see us as weak, as easy prey. But understand this, every step you take toward Earth is a step toward your destruction. Leave now and you may yet live. The pirates hadn't listened. Their fleet vanished without a trace. Drex's unease deepened. Humanity's history was littered with similar incidents, threats, warnings, and then silence. It was as if the planet itself swallowed its enemies whole, leaving no survivors to tell the tale. As the days passed, Drex found himself questioning everything he knew. Were humans truly as weak as they appeared? Or was there something more beneath the surface? He needed answers. The first encounter. Drex's first direct encounter with humanity came in the form of a lone farmer. The alien had been scouting the countryside when he stumbled upon the man tending to his fields. The farmer was middle-aged, his weathered face marked by years of hard labor. Despite Drex's imposing appearance, the man showed no fear. Instead, he leaned on his hoe, studying the alien with a curious expression. "Well," the farmer drawled, "you're a sight, ain't ya? Guess you're not from around here." Drex hesitated, unsure how to respond. The man's calm demeanor was disarming. "Don't worry," the farmer continued, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "We've seen your kind before. You're probably here to figure us out, right? See if we're worth the trouble." Drex's dark eyes narrowed. "And are you?" The farmer's smile widened, but there was no warmth in it. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough. But let me give you a piece of advice, friend. Don't mistake our kindness for weakness. We've got a saying around here, speak softly and carry a big stick." The alien didn't understand the phrase, but the farmer's tone sent a chill down his spine. As Drex retreated into the forest, the farmer's parting words echoed in his mind. "We've been patient for a long time. But if you push us, you'll wish you hadn't." Drex's mission was far from over, but one thing was clear: Earth was no ordinary target. Humanity's secret, whatever it was, remained hidden. But the more he learned, the more he realized that the Dominion might have underestimated their defenseless prey. To be continued? Drex returned to his concealed shuttle deep within the forest, his mind buzzing with unanswered questions. The farmer's words haunted him, gnawing at the edges of his confidence. Humanity's calm, almost dismissive attitude toward a potential threat was unlike anything he had encountered in the Dominion's many conquests. As he sifted through the data he had collected, patterns began to emerge. Humanity's history was rife with examples of resilience and ingenuity, but what truly stood out were the anomalies. Moments where entire fleets vanished without explanation, or where technology centuries beyond Earth's capabilities had been observed for fleeting seconds before disappearing entirely. If the Dominion was to conquer Earth, Drex needed to uncover the truth behind these anomalies. And to do that, he would have to venture deeper into the heart of human society. The web of disinformation. Disguised in a holographic cloak that masked his alien features, Drex infiltrated one of Earth's bustling cities. Skyscrapers towered above him, their reflective surfaces gleaming under the light of the sun. The streets were alive with humans going about their lives, their energy both chaotic and captivating. He slipped into a public library, drawn by the promise of free access to Earth's vast databases. The institution was quiet, filled with humans engrossed in their studies or lost in books. Drex connected to a terminal, his fingers moving with practiced ease as he began combing through records. The deeper he searched, the stranger things became. Official military archives were sparse, almost as if they had been deliberately scrubbed. Civilian stories, however, painted a different picture. There were tales of strange figures appearing during moments of crisis, wielding weapons that defied explanation. Survivors of pirate attacks recounted how Earth had been defenseless one moment, only for mysterious ships to appear out of nowhere, obliterating the invaders before vanishing again. And then there were the whispers of the Watchers. The Watchers. The Watchers were a recurring theme in human folklore and conspiracy theories. They were described as enigmatic protectors who operated from the shadows, their presence felt but rarely seen. Some believed them to be remnants of an ancient civilization, while others claimed they were Earth's secret weapon, a hidden force waiting to strike. Drex dismissed most of the accounts as superstition, but one thing was clear: humanity had cultivated an air of mystery around their capabilities. It was a masterstroke of psychological warfare. The Dominion relied on intimidation and overwhelming force, but humanity had chosen a different path, one that sowed fear through uncertainty. But Drex wasn't about to be deterred by ghost stories. If the Watchers were real, he would find them. The abandoned facility. Drex's search led him to a remote location deep in the Appalachian Mountains. The area was marked as a decommissioned military site, long abandoned after Earth's last World War. Satellite imagery revealed little, a cluster of dilapidated buildings surrounded by dense forest. But encrypted forums hinted at something more. Under the cover of darkness, Drex made his way to the facility. The air was thick with the scent of pine, and the only sounds were the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. His scanners picked up faint energy signatures, just enough to suggest that the site wasn't as abandoned as it seemed. The main structure was a crumbling bunker, its entrance hidden beneath layers of moss and debris. Drex pried open the rusted doors, stepping into the darkness beyond. Inside, the air was stale and cold. Flickering lights illuminated long-abandoned corridors, their walls lined with rusted machinery and faded warning signs. But as Drex ventured deeper, the facility began to change. The walls became sleeker, the technology more advanced. He entered a chamber that seemed untouched by time. In its center stood a massive console, its surface covered in glowing symbols that Drex couldn't decipher. As he approached, the symbols shifted, rearranging themselves into a language he could understand. A message from the past. The console activated with a low hum, projecting a hologram of a human figure. The man was older, his face lined with age but his eyes sharp and calculating. "If you're seeing this," the hologram began, "then you've managed to bypass our initial defenses. Congratulations. But before you go any further, you should know what you're dealing with." The hologram shifted, displaying images of Earth's history, wars, invasions, and acts of defiance. Each moment was a testament to humanity's resilience. "For centuries we've been underestimated," the man continued. "Our enemies see us as weak, fractured, unworthy of their attention. And that's exactly what we want them to think." The images changed again, this time showing advanced weaponry and starships hidden beneath holographic cloaks. Entire fleets lay dormant, waiting to be activated. "You've probably heard the stories," the man said, his voice tinged with amusement. "The Watchers, the ghosts of Earth's defenders. They're not myths. They're us. And we've been watching you." Drex felt a chill run through him as the hologram's gaze seemed to pierce his very soul. "We've prepared for this moment," the man said, his tone growing cold. "If you've come here with hostile intent, I suggest you turn back now. Because if you don't, you won't live to regret it." The hologram flickered off, leaving Drex alone in the chamber. The weight of discovery. As Drex emerged from the facility, his mind was racing. Humanity's facade of weakness was a carefully constructed illusion, a trap designed to lure their enemies into a false sense of security. The Watchers were real and their power was undeniable. Drex knew he had to report his findings to the Dominion. But as he looked back at the facility, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Humanity wasn't just patient, they were prepared. And if the Dominion dared to challenge them, the cost would be unimaginable. To be continued? Drex returned to his shuttle under the cover of darkness, his mind a storm of conflicting thoughts. The hologram's ominous warning echoed in his head, as did the chilling sight of Earth's hidden fleets lying dormant beneath their holographic shrouds. Humanity had not only deceived its enemies but had weaponized their underestimation in a way that even the Dominion couldn't have anticipated. But Drex was not one to be easily swayed by fear. If anything, his discovery of Earth's secret defenses only deepened his determination to unravel their full capabilities. He had seen the weapons, but he still didn't understand the minds behind them, the humans themselves. As his ship ascended through the atmosphere, he charted a course for a more populated region of Earth. His mission was no longer just reconnaissance. It was an investigation into the psychology of a species that could both baffle and terrify. The city of iron and shadows. Drex's destination was a sprawling metropolis, a hub of human activity that glittered with artificial lights against the backdrop of night. The city was alive with motion. Hovering vehicles zipped between towering skyscrapers, and the streets below thrummed with the footsteps of countless humans. He disguised himself once more, his holographic cloak projecting the image of an unassuming human male. The technology was flawless, allowing him to blend seamlessly with the crowd as he navigated the bustling streets. Everywhere he looked, he saw contradictions. Humans were boisterous and loud, yet there was a calculated efficiency to their movements. They argued and laughed with equal fervor, their emotions laid bare for all to see. Yet beneath their apparent chaos, Drex sensed a quiet resolve, a sense of purpose that was almost unnerving. He entered a crowded marketplace, his sharp eyes scanning the faces around him. Conversations buzzed in his ears, snippets of words that hinted at humanity's unyielding spirit. "Did you hear about the Mars colony expansion? They're doubling the workforce. Another drill in the Pacific? Makes you wonder what they're preparing for. Doesn't matter. We'll handle it just like we always do." Drex paused, his attention caught by the last speaker, a young woman standing at a food stall. Her tone was casual, but her words carried an undercurrent of unshakable confidence. "Just like we always do." It was a phrase Drex had heard repeated countless times in his study of human culture. And now, hearing it spoken aloud, he began to understand its significance. The incident at the square. As Drex moved deeper into the city, he became aware of a growing tension. The air seemed to hum with anticipation, and the crowd's movements grew more purposeful. He followed the flow of people to a large public square, where a holographic screen displayed a live news broadcast. The broadcast depicted a Dominion scout ship, a model identical to Drex's, hovering just outside Earth's atmosphere. The ship's presence had not gone unnoticed, and the news anchor's voice carried a tone of grim determination. Once again, Earth faces the shadow of an alien presence. But as history has shown, we will not falter. We do not seek conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Let this serve as a reminder to any who would challenge us. Humanity does not bow. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices rising in a collective roar that sent a chill down Drex's spine. These people were not afraid. If anything, they seemed invigorated by the prospect of a challenge. Before Drex could retreat, a commotion broke out near the edge of the square. A group of humans had cornered an individual whose holographic disguise was failing. The flickering image revealed the unmistakable form of a Dominion infiltrator. Drex watched in horror as the humans closed in, their expressions a mix of anger and grim determination. But what struck him most was their restraint. Despite their clear disdain for the intruder, they didn't strike. Instead, they surrounded the alien, cutting off any chance of escape. One of the humans, an older man with a stern face, stepped forward. "You've got one chance," he said, his voice calm but firm. "State your purpose here and we'll decide what to do with you." The infiltrator hesitated, his fear palpable. Drex knew the alien wouldn't reveal the truth, not without risking the Dominion's plans. But what Drex hadn't anticipated was the sheer weight of the human's presence. They didn't need weapons or threats to subdue the infiltrator. Their collective will was enough. The scene ended abruptly when Earth's security forces arrived, escorting the infiltrator away. The crowd dispersed, but the tension in the air remained. The cost of arrogance. Back in his shuttle, Drex reviewed the footage he had captured. The incident at the square was a microcosm of humanity's strength, a strength that lay not in their technology but in their unity and resolve. The Dominion had always viewed humanity as a fractured species, incapable of presenting a unified front. But Drex now saw the truth. Humans didn't need a centralized government or a vast military to defend themselves. Their strength lay in their adaptability, their ingenuity, and their unyielding spirit. As Drex prepared his report for the Dominion, he felt a growing sense of dread. The Dominion would not heed his warnings. They would see Earth as a challenge to be conquered, not a force to be respected. But Drex knew better. He had seen the fire in humanity's eyes, felt the weight of their determination. The Dominion was walking into a trap of their own making, and Drex could only hope that his people would realize the truth before it was too late. To be continued? Drex's shuttle hovered just outside Earth's atmosphere, cloaked in invisibility. His report to the Dominion was ready, a detailed account of humanity's hidden strength and the dangerous folly of underestimating them. But as he prepared to transmit it, a message from the Dominion High Command appeared on his console. "Return immediately. The fleet is mobilized. Earth will fall by dawn." Drex froze. His warnings had gone unheeded. The Dominion's arrogance was unshaken, and their hunger for conquest blinded them to the storm awaiting them. He stared at the message, a deep sense of foreboding settling over him. The Dominion wasn't just marching into battle, they were hurtling toward annihilation. The arrival of the Dominion fleet. The sky over Earth lit up as the Dominion's armada emerged from hyperspace, their sleek ships blotting out the stars. It was a show of overwhelming force, designed to intimidate and subdue. Drex's heart sank as he watched the massive fleet position itself for the invasion. This was no reconnaissance mission. The Dominion had brought everything: warships, troop carriers, and planetary siege weapons. Earth's response was immediate. The planet's orbit buzzed with activity as defensive satellites activated, their surfaces shimmering with energy shields. Civilian ships retreated to safe zones, and encrypted transmissions signaled the mobilization of Earth's military forces. Yet the humans made no attempt to fire the first shot. Drex observed in silence, his ship hidden among the Dominion's formation. The humans' restraint was unsettling. They weren't panicking. They weren't scrambling to mount a defense. They were waiting, watching. And Drex began to understand the trap humanity had laid. The first strike. A Dominion dreadnought loomed over Earth, its massive cannons charging with destructive energy. The fleet commander's voice echoed through the Dominion comms, dripping with arrogance. "Let this be a lesson to all who would resist the Dominion. Earth's defiance ends today." The dreadnought fired. A beam of pure energy hurtled toward the planet, destined to obliterate a major city. But before it could reach the surface, the beam struck something invisible. The air shimmered and a massive energy shield flickered into view, absorbing the blast effortlessly. From the depths of Earth's oceans and the dark side of the moon, humanity's true forces emerged. Ships cloaked in advanced holographic technology decloaked, their sleek designs a stark contrast to the Dominion's utilitarian war machines. They were smaller but faster, armed with weaponry the likes of which Drex had never seen. The Watchers had arrived. The fall of the Dominion fleet. The Watchers' ships moved with surgical precision, targeting the Dominion's weak points with devastating efficiency. Their weapons weren't just advanced, they were terrifying. Beams of energy sliced through Dominion shields as if they didn't exist. Missiles moved like predators, adapting mid-flight to avoid countermeasures and strike their prey. Panic spread through the Dominion fleet. Commanders barked orders, desperate to regain control, but the Watchers anticipated every move. Drex watched in stunned silence as a single human ship outmaneuvered 3 Dominion cruisers, reducing them to molten debris in seconds. And then came the ground forces. From hidden bases around the globe, humanity deployed soldiers equipped with powered exoskeletons and weapons that defied Dominion understanding. They fought with ferocity and precision, their coordination almost telepathic. It was as if they were everywhere at once, striking hard and vanishing before the Dominion could react. The Dominion's elite shock troopers, feared across the galaxy, were outmatched and outclassed. Entire battalions fell in minutes, their advanced armor and weapons rendered useless against humanity's superior tactics. The final blow. The Dominion fleet was in full retreat, but Earth wasn't done. From the moon's surface, a massive weapon emerged, a railgun of unprecedented scale. It charged with a blinding light, its barrel glowing like the birth of a star. The railgun fired, its projectile tearing through the Dominion flagship with devastating force. The shockwave rippled through the fleet, disabling ships and leaving them vulnerable to the Watchers' unrelenting assault. Drex's shuttle trembled as the Dominion's armada crumbled around him. He knew he had to escape, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from the destruction. The Dominion had underestimated Earth and they were paying the ultimate price. The aftermath. By dawn the battle was over. The Dominion fleet was gone, its remnants scattered across the solar system. Earth's skies were clear once more, the only evidence of the conflict lying in the wreckage that burned up in the atmosphere. Drex landed his shuttle in a remote region, his disguise still intact. He wandered the Earth for days, marveling at the resilience of a species that had turned their supposed weakness into their greatest weapon. In the end, Drex chose not to return to the Dominion. He knew there was nothing left to return to. Instead, he stayed on Earth, living among the humans and learning from them. They welcomed him, their kindness and curiosity a stark contrast to the Dominion's cold ambition. Humanity had taught him a valuable lesson, a lesson the Dominion had learned too late. Strength wasn't just about weapons or numbers. It was about unity, determination, and the courage to stand against impossible odds. As Drex gazed up at the stars, he felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps, in the vast expanse of the galaxy, there was still a chance for peace. And perhaps, just perhaps, humanity would be the ones to lead the way. The end.